When the Zark first encountered humanity, they were astonished by their frailty. With an average height of barely 2 meters and skin that was easily pierced, their entire biology seemed ill-suited for survival. A child of the Zark's warrior class could crush a human skull with a single blow, and even the simplest of their predators would make short work of these creatures. The Galactic Council's database gave humans a mere 3 out of 20 on the Physical Resilience Index. A laughable score for a species daring to venture into interstellar space. Sure, they had ingenuity, but in our eyes, that meant little without strength to back it up. When humanity petitioned to join the Council, they did so with startling humility. They listed their weaknesses openly, their susceptibility to diseases, their dependence on specific environmental conditions, and their limited endurance for travel. We accepted them more out of curiosity than any respect. Despite their limitations, humans adapted quickly to galactic life, seeking alliances and participating in negotiations with a surprising level of competence. Yet, in times of conflict, they remained on the sidelines, playing the role of support and logistics rather than warriors. They did not build warships, they built medical vessels and research stations. They did not train soldiers, they trained diplomats. We assumed it was because they were smart enough to know their place. They were an amusing anomaly, intelligent but physically weak, good for mundane tasks but hardly fit for battle. Our analysts even believed that their cautious nature would render them dependable allies, always seeking to preserve the peace. We were wrong. When the Althan supremacy declared war on the Council, they did so with brutal efficiency. The Althans were known for their ruthless pursuit of conquest, and they targeted the Council's core systems with devastating precision. System after system fell to the Althan fleets, and the Council, caught off guard, was unable to mount a solid defense. As the Council scrambled to rally a counter-offensive, we realized the humans had made an unexpected move. Instead of retreating or seeking diplomatic solutions, the Terran Union's entire fleet, tiny and unimpressive by our standards, had mobilized and headed straight into Althan-controlled territory. "What do they think they're doing?" Commander Xylus hissed, watching the humans' actions unfold on the tactical map. "Committing collective suicide, most likely," Ambassador Revak sneered. "They've sent a force of 60 ships against an armada of over 2,000 Althan vessels. It will be a bloodbath." But the battle that followed defied everything we knew. As the human fleet engaged the Althan forces, a chilling silence filled the command center. The Terran ships, equipped with technology we didn't recognize, began to deploy a series of weapon systems that didn't appear in any of our databases. It started with a burst of electromagnetic pulses that disabled the shields of entire Althan squadrons. Then, seemingly from nowhere, the human ships launched small, dart-like drones that pierced the hulls of the Althan ships and unleashed waves of nanobots. The Althan commanders scoffed at first. Those drones barely seemed capable of penetrating their armor. But the next few minutes were chaos. The Althan ship systems turned against them, as the nanobots hijacked their power cores, causing explosions that tore through the fleet in waves. What are we witnessing?" I whispered, unable to believe my eyes. "They're dismantling the Althan ships from the inside out," murmured Revak, his voice filled with disbelief. The battle, if one could even call it that, was over within minutes. 2,000 warships had been rendered to floating debris, and not a single human vessel had been destroyed. The few Althan ships that tried to flee found their engines locked down, and their crews incapacitated. It was then that a transmission came through, not to us, but directly to the Althan Supreme Commander. The screen flickered, revealing a human dressed in a simple, unadorned uniform. Her voice was calm, almost gentle. "This is Admiral Kiera Tan of the Terran Union. Your forces have been neutralized. I suggest you stand down and open negotiations with the Council. The next move is yours." The Althan commander, a towering figure of scales and armored exoskeleton, roared in fury. "You dare!" "I wouldn't recommend that," Admiral Tan interrupted softly. The Althan fleets have been paralyzed, and the nanobots currently saturating your ship's atmosphere can do much more than disable systems. They can also target biological matter. The implications hung in the air like a death knell. We all knew what she meant. Those same nanobots could turn their crew into nothing more than organic slurry. And the humans had this power, now, in their possession, after only a few centuries in the galactic community. The Althan commander faltered. He knew, just as we did, that this was no bluff. "Humans were supposed to be fragile," Rivak murmured, his gaze locked on the screen. "They are," I replied, feeling a shiver run down my spine. "But I think they've known that all along. It's why they've built these weapons, and why they've never used them until now." Admiral Tan's gaze shifted, as though she could see us watching. "We don't like war," she said, almost as though responding to an unspoken question. "But if you force our hand, we will defend ourselves. Remember that." The transmission ended, and I slumped back in my seat, trying to process what we just witnessed. "Update the resilience index," Rivak muttered, his voice hollow. "Humans are not a free." "No," I whispered. "There's something far beyond that, and I'm not sure we want to know what they're capable of if pushed to the brink." The humans had revealed only a fraction of their true power, but the message was clear. They weren't the fragile creatures we'd thought. Beneath the surface of their vulnerability was a potential for destruction that far outstripped anything we'd seen. And as we watched the Terran fleet walk back to their territory, one chilling thought echoed in my mind. Humanity avoids war because, if they ever truly fought, they might end us all.